Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio. Your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Hello and welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where we provide world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Our show today is A Woman's Prerogative in partnership with E360 TV. We have a wonderful guest today, and our topic today is From Barriers to Breakthrough, Rethinking Fertility Care. I'm Caroline Heward, and I'm known as the Harley Street Stress Expert. I'm absolutely thrilled and honoured to be representing Dr. Jacqueline as your host for USA Global TV and Radio's flagship show, A Woman's Prerogative. I'm a TV presenter and also the resident therapist for USA Global TV and Radio. A very warm welcome to our loyal viewers and our friends at E360 TV. Hello to all of our friends on our usual social media channels, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn and X. Dr. Jacqueline, our wonderful founder and president and visionary extraordinaire, she has been awarded for this channel the YouTube Silver Creator Award, achieving over 100,000 subscribers. We have over 106,000 subscribers on the Creator Awarded channel, and we have over 36,000 subscribers on our second channel. Thank you. A very huge thank you to all of our fans and all of our loyal subscribers. We do hope that you are enjoying all of our shows, whether they bring you hope, inspiration, education, and entertainment. Our guest today, we normally have a full-time panelist, but she's having the day off today, Reverend Lydia Fougeres. We send her our blessings. We have a very special guest for tonight's show. We are featuring Ruth Pellow. She is a fertility nurse specialist with over 30 years expertise and experience. She began her practice in Harley Street. I'm a fan of that because I began my practice in number 10 Harley Street, which is in London. She also was the senior sister of the Centre of Reproduction Medicine at Bartholomew's Hospital, also based in London. She worked for the Spanish Fertility Clinic, and she is the owner of IVF Treatment Abroad, which was established in 2009. She has been helping women and couples undergo treatment outside of their home countries. It is my privilege to invite, with a warm welcome, Ruth Pellow.
Hello. Hi.
Hello,
Lovely
Ruth.
to be here. I'm very, very grateful to have been invited to come and have a conversation. You.
Wonderful.
I say, if you have managed to
Ruth is all the way from Greece, so it looks like there's a few technical things going on there. So if we do lose you, stay with us, because I'm sure she's got a technical whiz in the background that will be able to help her with the internet. So thank you very much, Ruth, for joining us all the way from sunny Greece. Please do share with our viewers a little bit about you and what you do.
You gave me a wonderful intro and very much showed what I've done so far. It makes me feel a little old when it's saying I've been doing this work for over 30 years, but I started young. And my philosophy is very much a matter of being able to give people the knowledge to be able to make decisions for their own fertility care. I very strongly believe that information and understanding is power. And so that's how I've worked for the last however many years, is being able to give people information to make choices regarding where they undergo their fertility treatments. And I work with a number of clinics in a number of countries in Europe to be able to achieve that for them.
Thank you very much, Ruth. And we're looking forward to hearing more about Ruth's journey. For me, I'm known as the Harley Street stress expert, and I help people bust their stress. How do I do that? I work with root cause therapy and chakra psychology, how the mind and body connects and what happens to the person physically, emotionally, mentally, behaviorally when there's an imbalance. And the imbalance is the symptom. Some people walk around and they say, I'm not stressed. But then in the next breath, they're saying they're not sleeping. They're complaining of intimacy, relationship issues. They're complaining about colleague. They're complaining about feeling stressed or anxious. That is how their symptom is manifesting. And so I help people break through the blueprint of what's creating their stress, their initial presenting symptom when it first appeared in their life, which gives them an incredible night's sleep, and it also obliterates the symptom. I also do lunch and learn events, both online and face-to-face, and I look forward to busting your stress. So let's get into the topic. Ruth, I'm very excited about this because before the show, we actually had a little time together, didn't we, today on WhatsApp? And what I was really keen about is the fact that you've done so much. When I asked you how many people you have helped, please do share with our viewers the number of how many people you have helped. Before we get into your story and why you're passionate about this, how many people have you helped in the last 30 years?
It's got to be thousands, because there were so many people, treated in Harley Street. And then when I was at Barts in London, there was lots more. I was there for 9 years, and obviously you're treating so many people per year. And then when I was working at the clinic in Spain, lots there. We had lots and lots of couples from the UK coming to Spain for treatment. And then since IVF treatment abroad was put into place, my husband and I created it. Thousands. I'm very blessed in the fact I'm able to see a lot of my babies growing up, because I'm linked with on Facebook with a lot of them. But yeah, lots.
Wow. Well, when you said thousands when we spoke, I felt that that's the thing to highlight before we go into anything, that you have helped literally thousands of people. So fertility treatment, it can be life-changing, and it's surrounded by all sorts of challenges, accessibility, financial barriers, navigating the systems, and it's overwhelming because today, I feel blessed. I feel honored that we are joined by this compassionate and passionate patient advocate and an independent compassionate advocate in fertility, nurse specialist Ruth Pellow, who works tirelessly, because I heard it when we spoke. You work tirelessly with individuals to guide them through their fertility journeys. And together tonight, we are going to explore how Ruth has been working with literally thousands of people and helping them on their journey of IVF and fertility. Please do share, Ruth, how and why you ended up doing this work. When you started 30 years ago, what moved you to do this work?
I wasn't actually going into this work. This work didn't really exist, because we're going back to 1991, and this work didn't really exist in the world, or especially not in the UK. I was going to be a midwife. That's what I had planned. But I was working on a 5-day surgical ward, and I was doing night shifts, and you're not allowed to sleep during night shifts, so you have to stay awake. And there were women who were coming on to the ward. They needed to come in the night before, then having fertility treatment the following morning. And it was a particular treatment called GIFT, It was very much in the early days of fertility treatment, but it was a complex operation they underwent, and they couldn't sleep that night. So we spent all night talking, and they'd explained to me what's been gone on with their fertility journeys and what was involved with their fertility treatment, and I was hooked completely. And then literally just a couple of months later, the Nursing Times, which is the Bible as far as nurses are concerned in the UK when it comes to looking for jobs, suddenly there were 2 jobs for a nurse in a fertility clinic to learn all about fertility work. So I applied for both jobs and actually got offered both jobs, but I thought Harley Street sounded quite nice to go and work at.
Oh, yes, very much so. I landed up in Harley Street too.
I was at number 12 Harley Street.
Oh, that was owned by the same people as I was under. I was under number 10.
Because there was number 12. There was one at the back at 12A, but it was actually called the Hallam Medical Centre when I first started in 1991.
Wow. Because when I joined them, they just had 10, and then they stretched into 8, and they stretched over the other side into 12. So they had 8, 10, and 12. We were known for our parties. Wow, that's amazing that, you know, you can be so far away, and yet we landed up working in the same area. Wonderful.
Exactly. Yeah.
So please do share with us, Ruth, and our viewers, what moments stand out to you as most rewarding in terms of your work with patients?
There have been so many, I'll be completely honest, because you know, the times I've been there, I can remember, it wasn't particularly a patient, but I can remember when at Bart's Hospital, we had a baby party, and literally there were hundreds of these couples with babies. It was like, I don't know how many there were, but there was just so many, and it was literally all in the same room. And I was the main nurse, and so everybody really knew me. So I literally, this big hall, I only went round once because a person would say hello, and then somebody would catch my eye over their shoulder, and I'd move to walk to the next and the next and the next. That was an amazing to be able to see all of those babies I'd helped create in one place. That was fabulous. Another thing that I feel very honoured to be able to do is things that don't always work out, and sometimes it's a long journey. And I've particularly had 2 couples who I've been working with for too many years. I always say I don't like to know people for too long because it means they've been unsuccessful. But 2 of the couples I've been working with for a number of years have both this year conceived and have delivered babies. And that was just so special after all they'd gone through, be able to share in that. And I was floods of tears. I do not mind. I cried as well. I was just so happy for them.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's really inspiring that after a long journey that they have done it. And you must be a mother to so many children, because
I'm Auntie Ruth.
That makes sense.
I have a couple of mother-in-laws of patients who call me the fertility fairy.
Oh, that's just beautiful. I mean, when we spoke earlier on before the show, I knew this was going to be very heartwarming for so many people that have struggled with conceiving a child and turning to IVF. This is very inspirational for them to hear how many people, you know, literally thousands of people, and people that you've been with you for a long time and they've eventually conceived. It's so beautiful because it is an inspirational story, a human story that you're giving hope and you're giving a possibility. Of course, there are some challenges, you know, that some of the biggest barriers that people experience and when they face trying to get into fertility care. What are the biggest barriers that you know that people are experiencing when they're trying to conceive a baby and get into fertility care?
There's a number of barriers I find that people do experience. The biggest one, which I see again and again, is not having enough information, really not being given as much information as they need to make the right decisions for what they're going to do in terms of fertility treatment. I've had patients who said to me, when I've done a consultation with them, they've learnt more in an hour than they have with 3 years with their own clinic. And that's not how it should be. Information is power, as I said earlier. And I think that is just got to be the biggest hurdle, is people not getting the right information. Sometimes there is limitations in terms of what's available in certain countries in terms of treatment. Finances is a big one, especially depending on where people are living. I'm just very conscious of how expensive fertility treatment can be, for example, in the US and Canada versus Europe, which is why obviously a number of people do come to Europe for fertility treatment. And I've treated a number of Americans and Canadians. I actually have a whole group of patients from Australia, because again, that's another area where there's limited options in terms of treatment. So we could also treat a lot of Australians as well. So those, I think, are the biggest things, is finances and information and availability. Waiting list is a big thing, especially in the UK. And to be able to say there isn't a waiting list for treatment, when do you want to start, can be a huge weight off people's minds.
Well, that's a lot of things to explore in terms of the different countries. And I feel that this show alone is not going to cover everything that we could cover. But please do share with us a small amount of what, when people are going to, say, for instance, you've said some of the biggest countries that are having challenges are Australia and Canada and the US. What are their challenges in terms of getting access?
From Australian perspective, we find the biggest issue they are having is accessing and obtaining donor eggs. If a couple or a single woman is finding that their egg quality is not good enough and they're unable to conceive that way, so they're needing eggs from a younger woman. In Australia, there is quite tight regulation, and you need to basically find a donor, which is not easy. And that's why a lot of Australians do come across to Europe, where there are egg donors, and so therefore they're able to undergo through treatment a lot sooner. When we're looking the other side, again, actually in Canada, the legislation in Canada is also about finding your own donor, or obviously buying eggs, often from America, but that can work out very expensive. I do have patients from Canada and the US who will come over for conventional IVF treatments, therefore using their own eggs. And often it is because the price of medications or the price of the actual treatments in their home country prohibits them being able to go through. Obviously, the hope is that more and more companies will consider and put into place in their healthcare for their employees a fertility element, but it's how much that fertility element will actually cover. That's something which is starting and is happening in the US. It's not something you see in the UK. And it's also not something I'm seeing from Australia either. So there's a lot of work that I know a lot of people are doing in various countries to try to get employers to look at fertility treatment as being an appropriate thing that should be in private healthcare contracts that they have for their employees.
Thank you very much, Ruth, for your incredible and authentic sharing, because it really, truly is global what you're sharing in terms of what's accessible in different countries. I wasn't expecting you to have such an eye on the button in all these different countries. That's amazing. But we have reached the point of our short commercial break. That's gone very quickly, always does when the subject's interesting. So we're just going to break for a short commercial break. Please come back and join us, whether you're on the live or the replay, and find out more. And while we continue the conversation from barriers to breakthroughs, rethinking fertility care, joining myself and Ruth Pellow. We'll be with you in a short break, after a short break.
Get ready to wear the brand that's changing the world of media. Introducing the official USA Global TV and Radio online store. From our TV show hosts to our incredible global guests, you asked, we delivered. Rep your appearance with pride. Whether you've been on air, hosted a show, or tuned in, we have something just for you. Visit us at usaglobaltvradiosshop.myspreadshop.com and start shopping today. Check back frequently. We're dropping fresh new designs all the time. Showcase your role in our global community. These designs celebrate your voice, your story, your presence. It's more than just merchandise. It's a movement of hope, inspiration, education, and elevated listening. Head to usaglobaltvradiosshop.myspreadshop.com. Your spotlight awaits. USA Global TV and Radio. Elevate your style. Elevate the world.
Hello and welcome back to USA Global TV and Radio, a woman's prerogative in partnership with E360 TV. If you're joining us now on the live or the replay and you missed the beginning of the show, please do catch up on the show because we've been exploring some very interesting areas. We are exploring from barriers to breakthrough, rethinking fertility care with our wonderful and special guest, Ruth Pellow. Please do come back out, Ruth, and let's continue our conversation. Ruth, you've been sharing some very interesting, insightful, and quite incredible shares. Your global knowledge is second to none from what you've been sharing on this show. So I want to just move further into the fact that you were saying that some people are not aware of a lot of things, that are not aware of the difficulties, the pitfalls, and it's lack of knowledge, education. So what role does awareness and education play in breaking down these barriers?
I think the best way for me to explain it is how I approach any contact that I have from anybody. It's saying, let's have the conversation. Let's discuss what's happened so far in your fertility journey so that I can better determine and advise what are they needing from any fertility clinic. And that's a big thing, is understanding what they've been through, what's been done, what maybe is not being done, not being looked at. Unfortunately, there's a lot of bias, and often we find that a lot of patients who all being looked at the female, it's the female side, and the male side has not been really looked at as much. That happens a lot, and sometimes just having a fresh approach can really help people be able to understand, okay, maybe we need to just take a step back and look at things in a little bit more detail first. So my philosophy, or our philosophy, has always been that it's important to find out what a couple or a woman needs from a fertility clinic. One fertility clinic can't do it all. I'm often told, well, what's the best clinic? Depends what you're needing. And that's the important thing, is what do you need from a clinic, and determining what that is. And that can then help me, because all clinics have their strengths and weaknesses. And because I don't work for any clinic, I work with clinics. That's the independent bit. I'm able to determine which is the right direction for a couple to go to.
So, Ruth, this is really interesting in terms of the fact that you're describing that everybody's journey is different. I just thought, they want a baby, they need IVF. But actually what you're saying is, what I'm hearing, so let me just make sure that I clarify what I'm hearing, is that you're saying that everybody has different needs. And from what I'm hearing there is, I'm feeling that there is some emotional needs here, as well as mentally emotional needs that the men as well as the women will have, because it's not just a physical thing, it's also an emotional and a mental thing. What are your thoughts about that?
Very much so. I think you can't just look at the physical side and you don't have great sperm, or your tubes are blocked, or you're older and so therefore your eggs are. You've got to look at the person as a complete entity, and so therefore you're looking at their physical, their emotional. It's all of that has to be looked at and addressed when you're determining, because I can say to a lady that unfortunately her tests tell me that the chance of her conceiving naturally or with her own egg is very, very low. But me being able to say to her, would you use a donor egg, is a completely different conversation. They may not be emotionally at the right point to be able to make that decision. So everybody's journey is going to be different. There might be factors which are the same, and so therefore I can use previous knowledge to be able to advise people. But you need to be always looking at each situation as an individual, and what works for one patient is not necessarily going to work for another.
So we're all human. That's what you're saying. We're all human, and we're all on our own personal journeys of IVF fertility. And that's something that's integral, I feel, to the conversation, that it's not one thing, it's a combination of things. But why is fertility treatment so expensive? I mean, you've touched on the expense of, and is it justified? Because it really, we're smiling, but it really is expensive. I know people, relatives that have paid a lot of money and they have conceived, or they haven't conceived and they're on another round of IVF. I mean, it's an expensive and huge investment. Why?
The difficulty is it's not seen as life-threatening. And when it's not life-threatening, it's therefore goes down in the priorities when you're looking at anything. For example, there was the issue of funding for fertility treatment in the UK a number of years back, and there still is. It's ongoing issues whether people will get funding or not. But invariably, health authorities, etc., will want to put that funding towards things which they class are life-threatening, like heart transplants, goodness knows what else, diabetes. But fertility isn't seen in the same light. Because physically it is not life-threatening. But if you ask any person who is wanting to get pregnant, it is life-changing, the fact that they are unable to have a child. And I think that's the difference. It's life-changing if they're unable to have the family that they're wanting to. And being able to acknowledge that is something we're still very much working towards.
You are the dream maker, by the sound of it, creating families. Well, it sounds amazing what you do, and it's inspirational that you can achieve this by working with people on an individual basis. I really now understand when you say independent. When you were saying independent, I thought, well, why is that necessary? I can see now that the fact that you're independent, you can tap into all of these different places, but you're not attached to one and only saying this one solution, that you can tap into, you can go here or you can go there. And that I feel is the driver of you being independent. And I love that, because they can come to you and you can point them in the right direction. And that brings me to another really, really topical question. And you mentioned a little bit earlier on, what countries or systems are leading the way in affordability. And you mentioned that the UK, people are coming to Europe because it's cheaper. Who's leading the way in affordability?
Again, it depends on what fertility treatment you need. But when I first left the UK, and that was back in 2004 when I moved to Spain, Spain was very much the forefront, and still is. When you look at there's lots of information out there. You can see the percentage of people, which countries are they going to. Spain is very much still top. Greece is very much high there as well, as is the Czech Republic. But there are also other countries. Portugal has very much got its place, because their legislation means you could have identity release donors rather than anonymous donors. So it's a niche area. And also it depends on exactly what a couple are needing. Sometimes I have patients who are needing to go to Albania, of all places, for treatment, because that's where specialist knowledge is.
Well, it sounds like a minefield, Ruth. So you are the fountain of all knowledge by the sound of it, with over 30 years of expertise. So what if somebody was looking for help in an IVF fertility journey? Where would they start? What would be the steps that you would recommend, especially as you're an independent? How, you know, what's the way to contact you? How would they seek you out? Where would they begin?
Contact me, most definitely. Absolutely.
How do they do that? How do they contact you? And share a little bit about.
The best ways and how most people do find me is they actually Google me. You can Google and find Ruth Pellow. That's really easy. Our website has got lots of information. There's some beautiful testimonials that patients have done for me, which makes my head swell when I read them, because they also say how wonderful I am, which is great. But lots of people just WhatsApp me. I am known as the WhatsApp queen, and so I will get random messages from people going, hi, I've been given your name, or hi, I've been given your number. Would I be able to organise a time to speak? And that's exactly what I would organise to do. I invariably do send a welcome email first, just so they've got something in writing from me. But then I think speaking to people is very good. Oh, that's my home view you're looking at now. There you go. But speaking to people, I think, is extremely important, and giving them that space to be able to discuss what's happened so far. That's the first step, is having that conversation, and then feeling that someone wants to listen to them and wants to help them. And again, it's that whole information bit, giving them people information and ideas of where should they consider, what should they consider doing as the next step. Obviously, the hope is that they will want to consider undergoing treatment with my help and support with the key clinics that I do work with in the various countries. And I'm very much seen as their advocate. As I say, I work with these clinics, not for them. So when I'm working with the clinics, it's looking at it from the patient's perspective. Am I happy with the care that the patient's getting? If I am, great. If I'm not, I stop working with clinics. I can make that decision if I'm not happy with what is being achieved for my patients. And it's ensuring that we get from those clinics what we want to get in terms of care and technology, and obviously, hopefully, results as well. All of that is key to my role as an advocate, as a coordinator, and using all those 30 odd years of experience to give people the best positive outcome and journey while they're with me.
I'm blown away, because I wasn't aware that there was all of this knowledge out there of what's possible. I've only heard the horror stories of working through the NHS systems or the private fertility clinics for IVF, and it doesn't sound like it's an easy journey. It sounds like it's all very mechanical. So, you know, what I'm hearing here from our wonderful and special guest is that you're hand-holding them, and you're making sure that you're taking them through that mire that they will face. So, Ruth, are there countries other than Europe, because obviously Europe sounds like they're doing great things, are there countries that could learn from what's happening and the good standards and the good things that are coming out of Europe?
Well, I would hope any country will. I mean, in Europe, we have a governing body called ESHRE, which is the European Society for Fertility Treatment. And there's a lot of work that's done through ESHRE. And that can be accessed online, both from a patient perspective and also from other countries. And there's a lot of people who are in different countries who are looking at what's happening in Europe and taking away, hopefully, some of the good things to be able to use in their own centres. Having said that, it works both ways. There are things that we hear about in America and we think, oh, that's quite handy. Ooh, let's use that. But there are newer technologies that are in Europe which are starting to make their way over to other countries. And I hope it really should be a sharing of information between countries, because we're all trying to fight the same battle. We all want to help people achieve their dream of a family.
Well, I have one last quick fire question to ask, because we are at the end of our show. Hasn't that time gone fast? So my quick fire question, because this is on the minds of many people. What's one myth about fertility treatment that you'd like to bust right here and right now?
One myth. It doesn't have to be scary. That's the biggest thing. People can be quite scared, especially about considering fertility treatment outside of their home country. It does not have to be scary. And I think that's the biggest thing. You know, speak to people, speak to me. I have lots of my patients who are happy to speak to people so that they can understand their experience of having treatment outside their home country. Take a risk. Just take that one step forward and you might find the answers that you're needing to be able to move forward in a positive way.
Thank you. That's a great piece of advice. What keeps you passionate, Ruth, about this work? What's your one big takeaway that keeps you going? Because you're clearly passionate. I feel completely alive when I'm speaking to you. And I haven't had children. I hadn't considered having treatments like this, but what is it that drives you?
It's being able to help people. I grew up in a household. My father was a Church of England priest, and it was very much a helping others household. And I think going into nursing was an extension of that, and then going into fertility work. It's what I love. It's not a job. It's not just a career. It's a vocation. It is my passion, and I couldn't envision myself doing anything else. I really couldn't. I mean, it's me.
I can see that. I'm a bit the same with my clients. I'm a stress expert, and I feel always passionate. It enlivens me, invigorates me, and it energizes me when I've helped someone feel more relaxed and feel less stressed. So I really get that. Well, Ruth, we have come to the end of our show. Please do share with our viewers the best way to reach you. Give your number if WhatsApp is the best way to reach you.
I would say
and who you want to reach out to you.
Okay, so WhatsApp is most definitely the easiest way to get hold of me, and that's obviously 0030 694 890 6782, which is on the screen. Anybody, I will speak to anybody in the nicest possible way. I've even had family members who have reached out to me on behalf of family members. If that's the easier way of moving forward, then I'm happy to do that. But please do contact me. My website, there's lots of information on there. And there's also a contact form on there if you feel more comfortable. Also, there's the direct email address, and that email comes directly to me. It's not going to anybody else. It's coming directly to me. So be assured that I'm the one who will be looking after you throughout your time.
Thank you, Ruth. What an amazing show. And for me, I'm known as the Harley Street Stress Expert, and I'm going to help you bust your stress. So when you are undergoing this kind of treatment and you're having challenges and you're having difficulties and you can't sleep at night, reach out on nomorestress@live.co.uk or call if you're international, if you're local. Sorry, let me get that out again. If you're international, +44. If you're local, 07523 120 189. And I will help you bust your stress and move you to a place of calm. Reach out and connect with me on LinkedIn and Facebook. And if you have liked this show, please reach out to Ruth if she may be of service to you and also to me. In conclusion, I want to thank Ruth Pellow for her insightful and her incredible shares about the wonderful independent service that she does. I didn't think that this independent was a big thing until she said she can be attached to nothing and recommend everyone and the right place for the right treatment. In conclusion, fertility care is more than science. It's about hope, it's about compassion, and it's about assuring that people can have access to the care that they deserve and they require. It's about raising awareness, and it's about challenging the costs and inequalities. It's about advocacy for the patients, moving the barriers to breakthroughs. Today's discussion has been informed. I hope it's inspired you, and I hope that you continue the conversation with Ruth. There is support for those on this fertility journey. Thank you very much for joining us. Please do reach out to Ruth or myself if we may be of service to you. A massive thank you to Ruth again for all of her insightful shares and for the incredible work that she's doing. You have been listening to A Woman's Prerogative, and we have been exploring the topic from barriers to breakthroughs, rethinking fertility care. Thank you again, Ruth, and thank you to our wonderful president and elite broadcaster, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, for the whizzy effects behind the scenes. Please do join us next week. That's Monday, British Summer Time, 7 p.m, and it's 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Bye-bye for now, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Have a wonderful week. Thank you very much to our viewers, whether you're here on the live or the replay. Bye-bye for now, and over to our sponsors.
USA Global TV and Radio proudly presents Tracy Cram-Perkins, a dementia caregiving survivor teaching how to balance care with peace of mind. #1 resource for dementia caregivers. It's the book Dementia Home Care: How to Prepare Before, During, and After. Over 17,000 copies sold of this must-have guide. And now a testimonial from Tracy Smith.
If I was to describe this book to someone who is going through a similar situation, I would underscore how important it is to have some sort of a tool or a guidebook to help you through certain stages. And there's so many, it's such an unknown topic to the average person. And to have this as a reference is essential. It's going to help you get through it personally, as well as help your loved one manage.
To learn more, go to TracyCramPerkins.com. Tracy Cram-Perkins is an award-winning author. She's also the host of Dementia Home Care television show. Watch it here on USA Global TV and Radio.
Have you ever felt unheard? Like your words float into a void, leaving you invisible and disconnected? How about feeling judged, when assumptions overshadow your truth, leaving you misunderstood and defensive? And then there's that moment when someone offers solutions you never asked for, dismissing your feelings and leaving you more frustrated than before. It doesn't have to be this way. Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, the listening mentor, understands. She's here to help you reclaim your voice, build stronger connections, and create meaningful conversations that inspire understanding and mutual respect. Through her groundbreaking books, online and in-person courses, and interactive workshops, you'll learn how to navigate life's most challenging interactions. Discover the power of elevated listening and transform how you communicate. Master setting boundaries and asking permission to protect your peace. Learn to recognize and release judgment, fostering empathy and true connection. Dr. Kerbeck also offers personalized coaching, one-on-one or group sessions designed to fit your unique needs. Whether in person or virtually on StreamYard, her guidance will empower you to thrive. You don't have to struggle alone. The path to deeper connections and better relationships start here. Visit drjacqueline.com or usaglobaltv.com. Join a global community of empowered listeners and transform your life, one meaningful conversation at a time. Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck is the listening mentor. Start your journey today.
From the magical world of the amazing adventures of Lady Ella comes a heartwarming new journey filled with kindness, courage, and compassion. Lady Ella, the beloved ladybug and listening mentor, is back, and this time she is not alone. Meet her brave and thoughtful brother, Lord Jack. Together, they take flight on their very first kindness adventure. Along the way, they meet 3 new friends in need: a duck feeling discouraged, a mouse struggling to be understood, and a busy little bee who's completely lost. But with the power of elevated listening and simple acts of kindness, Lady Ella and Lord Jack show us how understanding and empathy can make the biggest difference in someone's day. Written by Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, the listening mentor, this 9th book in the best-selling Lady Ella series teaches children ages 5 to 10 the essential skills of listening, kindness, and etiquette. Now available for pre-order on Amazon. Scan the QR code and order your copy today.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA Global TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dyes. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.